All right, here we go. Terrence Crawford versus Manny Pacquiao. I'm not sure what the reaction is versus him and Manny Pacquiao possibly getting into the ring, but it's not a coincidence that Terrence Crawford was put on pay-per-view in this moment. Okay, a guy like Jesse Vargas, he's not a pay-per-view draw. He's never headlined a fight on pay-per-view. They had to put him on HBO versus Tim Bradley. They had to, put him on HBO in his next fight. Plus, he fucking lost against Tim Bradley. Who wants to see Jesse Vargas versus Manny Pacquiao? I think that's a fight that wouldn't draw. You know, it might draw if you call it Pacquiao's last fight. But fuck, how many times have we heard that? Ultimately, we want to see a great fight. If Pacquiao's going to come back in November, the whole fucking storyline is Bob Arum has November. He's got a date in November on hold, and more emerging news in the aftermath of this highlight uh, spectacular victory. This was one you have to see. Terrence Crawford put on a boxing clinic versus Victor Postal, and a guy like Victor Postal, holding the championship belt, being the number two guy at 140, and truly being completely outclassed. And you see a guy like Terrence Crawford, he's in a class of his own right now in that division, and he's calling out Manny Pacquiao to come down to 140. This is what is being spoken about, and Freddie Roach apparently, uh, according to him, and that's you gotta take whatever Freddie Roach says with a grain of salt, but he's saying he likes the idea of Pacquiao versus Crawford. He's saying Manny Pacquiao would be at his best at 140. This is what he's been saying this for a while. It's not the first time he said it. He's been saying this for quite some time. That Manny Pacquiao, he can easily make 140. He'd be a lot stronger. He'd be more powerful. Terrence Crawford and his team, I think they are insisting that Manny Pacquiao come down to 140, which I think is a little brash of them. Although, if we remember correctly, Manny Pacquiao did the same thing to Oscar De La Hoya back in the day when they wanted to make a super fight. So I think this is the next one. I think there's a lot of heat on Terrence Crawford. He's a big draw in Omaha. He can easily sell out any kind of a fight over there. And bringing him to Las Vegas and putting on a performance like that, it's going to open some fucking eyeballs. I think this is going to be an excellent matchup. It should absolutely happen, and this is something I think a lot of the real boxing fans, shout out to LDBC, shout out to Ego and Dante, they're still doing it. Um, Everyone's been looking forward to I think this sort of matchup being brought into the mainstream, and it should absolutely happen. Terrence, and if you look in the history of Top Rank, uh, they've always taken their top guy who's been, having the best performances, and normally they match him up with sort of their cash cow kind of a fighter. They did it with Tim Bradley, who was number one at 140, and they matched him up with Manny Pacquiao, and they ended up having three fights. So I hope they do it again. I think it's the right move, and Pacquiao has to pass the torch here. And fucking Jim Lampley, of all people, Jim Lampley went on record after this fight to say he thinks Crawford beats Pacquiao. Easy work. That's what he said. He said he's sure that Crawford would beat Pacquiao, and that's why he would be surprised that that Manny Pacquiao would fight Crawford next. But I think Pacquiao's the kind of guy that, like, I sort of give him a lot of credit. I don't think he's the kind of guy that would shy away from a guy that's naturally smaller than him. So he might want to take this fight, but it all depends on his team as well. So we'll see what happens, and also it all depends on Bob Arum what he wants to do. Bob Arum has a lot of power in terms of directing Manny Pacquiao's career, and I think he's gonna push for the Terrence Crawford showdown, and that's a pay-per-view all day. I think it would do pretty solid numbers, and it could be a great swan song for Manny Pacquiao. So that's all I got for now. Terrence Crawford, what an excellent performance he just put on. He deserves all the credit in the world, and this is a 5-star fight right here. So let me know what you guys think. Do you want to see the fight, Crawford Pacquiao? He can't fight me.